single choice can shift the balance of the galaxy. In this episode, that choice is made, and it's one that will echo through every world, every faction, and every soul tied to the fate of the Foundation. Loyalties are tested, hidden truths come to light, and the shadow of war looms closer than ever. By the time the credits roll, you'll realize nothing in this universe will be the same again. Before diving into the chaos of Episode 6, let's take a step back to remember where we left off in Episode 5. The galaxy has been hanging by a thread. On one side, the Empire is trying to maintain control, clinging to power through intimidation and ancient tradition. On the other, the Foundation is quietly moving pieces on the board, preparing for the inevitable clash. In the last episode, tensions were already boiling. Brother Day's authority was being tested in ways he had not expected. His usual command over the situation was slipping, not because of brute force, but because of the subtle erosion of trust among those closest to him. The political landscape around him was shifting like sand, and he could feel it, even if he didn't want to admit it. At the same time, we saw Salvor and Gal caught in a moral and strategic storm. The visions of the future they've shared are starting to influence their choices more and more, and those visions are not always in harmony. While Salvor pushes for action and immediate defense, Gal remains haunted by what she's seen, and the possibility that no matter what they do, a great darkness is coming. These two are more united than they've been in the past, but there's still a current of disagreement between them, a quiet tension that threatens to split their path at a critical moment. And let's not forget Hober Mallow, who is caught in the dangerous dance between survival and betrayal. His charm and cunning have always been his strongest weapons, but last episode put him in a situation where neither seemed enough. The uneasy alliance he's formed is fragile, and Episode 5 ended with a decision that will directly ripple into the events of Episode 6. One of the most haunting threads leading into this week is the mysterious reappearance of a figure long thought lost to time. Their presence was more than just a plot twist, it was a signal. A reminder that in Foundation, nothing ever truly disappears, and history has a habit of circling back when you least expect it. The last few minutes of Episode 5 left us staring into uncertainty. The stars themselves seemed to stand still as characters made moves that would alter their futures. Ships were set on courses that could lead to either salvation or ruin. And through it all, there was a growing sense that every player, Empire, Foundation, and the forces that exist between is heading toward a single, inevitable collision. Now, with Episode 6, we step into the heart of that storm. From the opening scene, the tone is heavier, more deliberate. You can feel the weight of choices yet to be made. There's no turning back for these characters anymore. Every step forward is a step deeper into conflict. Every alliance carries a hidden knife, and every promise comes with a cost. In this section of our breakdown, we're going to focus on how this episode positions itself as the season's turning point. It's not just another link in the chain, it's the moment the chain begins. To tighten, Episode 6 doesn't waste time with small talk or slow build-up. It takes the tension we've been feeling for weeks and pushes it right to the edge, making it clear that the back half of the season is going to be far more intense than the first. The galaxy is awake now, the players are in position, and Episode 6 makes one thing very clear. Not everyone is going to make it to the end of this game. Episode 6 opens in near silence, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that feels like a held breath before something breaks. We begin aboard a shadowed Imperial vessel, drifting through deep space. The camera moves slowly through empty corridors until it finds Brother Day in his private chamber, standing before a star map that flickers and distorts like it's losing power. His face is unreadable, but there's a heaviness in his posture. Without a word, he reaches out and dims the map completely, as if to say, the Empire's light is fading. This quiet moment is shattered when a messenger arrives with news. Another system has openly defied the Empire's orders. Not in secret, not with whispered rebellion, but publicly sending a direct message to the throne. Brother Day's response is controlled but cold. He doesn't raise his voice. Instead, he orders preparations for what he calls a demonstration. Of consequence, that's when you know diplomacy is no longer on the table. Asterisk cut to terminus. The Foundation is alive with energy, but not the celebratory kind. It's preparation, movement, urgency. Salver and Gall are deep in discussion, walking through the narrow streets as Foundation citizens load supplies and check weapon systems. Salver believes the Empire is moving faster than they anticipated. Gall tries to calm her, insisting there's still time to avoid war, but her voice betrays doubt. The visions she's been having are getting stronger, clearer, and they all point toward a single, catastrophic event. Asterisk then comes one of the most striking sequences of the episode, the Council of Shadows. Hopper Mallow arrives late, as always, but his entrance isn't met with the usual smirks. The atmosphere is tense. The Council has received intelligence that the Empire is mobilizing ships toward an unprotected sector, one that holds a key Foundation outpost. Mallow argues for a diversion, a risky maneuver that could buy them time. Salver doesn't like the idea, but the Council votes in his favor, setting a dangerous plan into motion. Asterisk meanwhile, far from both Empire and Foundation territory, we're taken to a forgotten mining moon, a place that looks like the galaxy abandoned its centuries ago. Here, a lone figure emerges from the dust storms. It's the same mysterious person we saw in Episode 5's final moments. Their face is still hidden, but their actions speak volumes. They're not here to survive. They're here to wait. A coded signal is sent from their communicator, and in the shadows, something or someone answers. Asterisk back aboard the Imperial ship. Brother Day is informed that spies have uncovered details about the Foundation's defense plans. We, the audience, know this is only half true. Mallow's diversion is designed to feed the Empire misleading intelligence. But whether the Emperor falls for it or not is unclear. Brother Day simply gives an order, burn their hope before it spreads. It's one of the coldest lines of the season. Asterisk the episode's midpoint is where tension shifts to urgency. Salver and Mallow are aboard a small craft, arguing about the next step. Salver wants to warn the outpost directly, while Mallow insists that doing so will ruin the diversion strategy. Their argument is interrupted when their ship picks up an incoming transmission, a voice they both recognize, one that should be impossible. Gall's name is never spoken, but the shock in their eyes tells us enough. Asterisk from here, the pacing quickens. The Empire's fleet begins its advance. The Foundation's forces scramble. And somewhere in the middle, the shadowy figure from the mining moon makes their move, slipping aboard a cargo freighter bound for Imperial space. We still don't know their exact goal, but the way the camera lingers on the hilt of a concealed blade suggests it's personal. Very personal. Asterisk the final act of the episode begins with parallel sequences, Brother Day giving a speech to his war council about the necessity of decisive action, while Gall speaks to a small group of Foundation loyalists about the burden of knowing what's coming. The contrast is striking. Both leaders talk of inevitability, but one frames it as domination, the other as survival. Asterisk Episode 6 closes on a double cliffhanger. The Imperial fleet arrives at its target, only to find it empty, the outpost abandoned. At the same time, the shadowy figure finally reveals their face, someone tied deeply to the Empire's history, someone who was supposed to be dead. The screen cuts to black before we see what they'll do next. Asterisk Episode 6 doesn't just move the plot forward, it reveals the true shape of the season's conflict. The surface story is about fleets, secret plans, and a race to outmaneuver the enemy, but underneath, this episode is about trust, manipulation, and the weight of knowing the future. Asterisk, let's start with Brother Day. In earlier episodes, his control was rooted in performance, grand speeches, calculated shows of dominance, the kind of power that's meant to be seen. But in this episode, the performance is gone. His decisions are quieter, colder, and more personal. The way he dims the star map at the start isn't just a visual flourish, it's a symbolic act. It's him acknowledging, even if only to himself, that the light of empire is fading. His shift from calculated intimidation to decisive violence tells us that he now sees diplomacy as weakness. And that's dangerous, because a ruler who has nothing left to prove has nothing left to hold them back. Asterisk on the Foundation side, Salver and Gaul represent two different responses to looming disaster. Salver is action-driven, ready to take risks and fight head-on. Gaul is burdened by foresight. She's seen what's coming, and it terrifies her into caution. This clash between action and restraint is at the heart of their relationship. The visions that Gaul experiences aren't just plot devices, they're emotional weights. Each one forces her to ask, if you know something bad is going to happen, do you act to stop it? Or do you risk making it worse? Episode 6 pushes her closer to the edge of that choice. Asterisk. Hober Mallow's role in this episode is particularly interesting because he's both a player and a pawn. The diversion plan he proposes is risky, but it's also layered with self-interest. Mallow's always been a survivor, someone who thrives in chaos, and here he's betting that misdirection will keep him alive longer. But the fact that the council votes in his favor suggests a deeper theme. Desperation makes people willing to trust anyone who sounds confident, even if that trust is misplaced. Asterisk, and then there's the mysterious figure from the mining moon. Their reveal at the end is a reminder of Foundation's long memory. The series thrives on the idea that no action disappears completely. Every decision leaves a trail, and sometimes those trails lead right back to the people who made them. This character's return isn't just a twist, it's a consequence. Someone's past mistake is about to come back with a blade in hand. Asterisk thematically, Episode 6 leans heavily into the inevitability of conflict. Both Empire and Foundation are convinced they're acting in self-preservation, but the truth is that each side is accelerating the very war they claim to want to avoid. The Council of Shadows scene is a perfect example. Everyone in that room understands the risks of Mallow's plan, but the need to do something outweighs the caution to do the right thing. It's a human flaw. We'd rather act decisively and risk failure than do nothing and risk irrelevance. Asterisk visually, the episode reinforces these themes through contrast. The Imperial ship is cold, metallic, and dark. The light is artificial and harsh, a reflection of the Empire's manufactured stability. Terminus, on the other hand, is alive with warm, flickering light, but it's scattered and fragile, as if it could be snuffed out at any moment. These aren't just set designs, they're silent storytellers showing us the fragility of both power and hope. Asterisk, there's also an undercurrent of fate versus choice running through the entire episode. Gaul's visions suggest a fixed future, but the actions of Salver, Mallow, and even Brother Day imply that the future can be reshaped. The tension between these two ideas, destiny and free will, is where Foundation thrives. Episode 6 doesn't answer which is true, but it raises the stakes for finding out. Asterisk, the last layer worth unpacking is the double cliffhanger. The empty outpost is a clever reversal. The Empire expects to crush a key Foundation location, but instead finds nothing. This isn't just a tactical victory for the Foundation. It's a psychological strike against the Empire's pride. And the reveal of the shadowy figure's identity works on a different level. It's not about the immediate plot impact, but the promise of chaos that comes when ghosts of the past walk into the present. Asterisk, in short, Episode 6 is the season's pivot point. It's where personal grudges, political strategy, and prophetic visions begin to overlap, creating a pressure cooker that's about to boil over. From here on, every decision will carry double weight, one for the immediate battle, and one for the history books. Asterisk, standout moment number 1, the dimming of the stars. Asterisk, the first image of Brother Day dimming the star map might seem simple, but it's loaded with meaning. It's not just a visual flourish, it's a symbolic surrender to the truth that his control is slipping. For a character so obsessed with legacy and image, this quiet gesture says more than any speech could. It's a moment that sets the tone for the rest of the episode. The light is fading, and not just for the Empire. Asterisk standout moment number 2. The Council of Shadows asterisk. This meeting is one of the tensest non-combat sequences in the entire season so far. No weapons are drawn, yet you feel like every word could trigger a war. The way Mallow plays the room, the way Salvor's frustration simmers under the surface, and the way the council leans toward action over caution. It's a masterclass in political storytelling. In Foundation, wars aren't just fought with fleets, they're fought with influence, persuasion, and risk. Asterisk standout moment number 3. The Mining Moon Stranger asterisk. Every great sci-fi series needs a wildcard presence that disrupts all existing plans. The shadowy figure wandering the abandoned mining moon delivers exactly that. The way the show delays revealing their face builds anticipation, and the final reveal isn't just shocking, it's loaded with narrative potential. This isn't a random assassin or forgotten wanderer. It's a piece of the past that someone in the present will deeply regret crossing. Asterisk standout moment number 4. The empty outpost twist asterisk. We've seen the Empire's power again and again, but here we see their pride take a hit. The image of the Imperial fleet arriving at an outpost only to find it abandoned is strangely satisfying. A small, temporary victory for the Foundation that feels huge because it's psychological. It's the first time in a long time the Empire has been made to look foolish, and you can feel that humiliation will fuel their next move. Asterisk standout moment number 5. The parallel speeches asterisk. This is where the episode's thematic heart beats loudest. Brother Day talks of decisive action. Gaul speaks of inevitable loss, and both are convinced they're right. The split-screen editing makes it clear, no matter which side you stand on, everyone is staring down the barrel of the same future. It's a chilling reminder that in war, each side believes they're the hero. Asterisk review and verdict asterisk. Episode 6 is where Foundation Season 3 plants its flag and says, this is where the game changes. The pacing is sharp, no wasted scenes, no filler dialogue. Every moment either builds tension, reveals character depth, or sets up the chaos to come. Asterisk. The writing here shines because it trusts the audience. We're not spoon-fed answers. We're given moments to interpret, symbols to decode, and motives to question. The dim star map, the unspoken tension between Salvor and Gaul, the subtle smirk from Mallow after the council vote, all of these are quiet storytelling beats that reward viewers who pay attention. Asterisk. The performances are equally strong. Brother Day's colder, more calculated demeanor feels like a genuine evolution of the character. Gaul's quiet fear contrasts beautifully with Salvor's restless energy, making their dynamic one of the most compelling relationships of the season. And Mallow, well, he's the perfect mix of charisma and danger, which makes him both an asset and a ticking time bomb. Asterisk. Overall, Episode 6 is a turning point that delivers on both spectacle and substance. It's not just a bridge between early season setup and late season payoff. It is the payoff for weeks of buildup, and it lays the foundation, pun intended, for what promises to be an explosive final stretch. Asterisk. Final score 9/10. Asterisk. Taut, intelligent, and filled with moments that will stay in your head long after the credits. Episode 6 doesn't just move the story forward. It makes you feel the weight of every choice, every betrayal, and every quiet act of defiance. Asterisk. The galaxy is now fully awake. Every faction, every leader, every hidden player knows the game has changed, and Episode 6 makes it clear that from here on, the moves will be faster, the risks greater, and the consequences permanent. Asterisk. The Empire has been embarrassed, but not weakened. If anything, their humiliation at the empty outpost has made them more dangerous. Brother Day's icy resolve in this episode wasn't a peak of his ruthlessness. It was the warning shot. In Episode 7, we can expect the Emperor to double down to prove that no one outsmarts the throne and gets away with it. History tells us the Empire always responds to insult with overkill, And I think we're about to see that play out on a scale we haven't yet witnessed this season. Asterisk the Foundation, on the other hand, has won a small but meaningful victory. They've bought time, and in this war, time is as valuable as any fleet. But time can also breed overconfidence. The tension between Salver and Gull hasn't gone away. It's simply been buried under the urgency of survival. When that urgency slows, those cracks could widen, and the visions Gull carries might start to shape their decisions in ways no one can predict. Asterisk and then. There's the wild card. The figure from the mining moon, now revealed, carries the kind of history that can split alliances and ignite personal vendettas. They are not a pawn in this story. They are a storm waiting to break. Episode 7 will almost certainly bring them closer to the heart of the conflict. And when they step into the light, old debts will come due. Asterisk for viewers. That's what makes Foundation so compelling at this stage. We're not just watching ships and soldiers. We're watching belief systems collide. We're seeing how prophecy, politics, and personal loyalty weave together into something unstoppable. Every decision in episode 6 feels like it will echo far beyond the next episode, shaping the fate of not just the season, but the entire series moving forward. Asterisk so as we head into episode 7, remember this, the board is set, but the rules are shifting. The Empire is cornered, the Foundation is emboldened, and somewhere in the shadows, a ghost from the past is ready to tip the balance. Whatever happens next, one truth remains in Foundation. Survival isn't about who has the most power. It's about who can see the future and who has the courage to change it. Asterisk, and with that, I'll pass the question to you. Which moment in episode 6 hit you the hardest? The dimming of the stars, the Council's risky gamble, or the reveal of the stranger's face? Let me know, because I have a feeling your answers will tell us more about which side you'd stand on when the war finally breaks.